Wouldn't have to feel the pain.
Yeah.
Not doing the NOS, I've only seen it with my daughter, and I was so mad because she had never done it, and this girl passed it to her when my back was turned. Next thing I see is my daughter's on the ground, and I don't know what happened.
How old is your daughter at the time?
My daughter was in her early 20s, I believe, maybe like 21, 22, around there.
Okay.
And
it's before we get to that part, let's go back a little bit. When you had your first son,
my first son
was with your boyfriend at the time,
with
right?
my boyfriend at the time.
And then
I have
you
3
broke
kids
up.
from him.
Okay.
I have my son, and then my third and my fourth child are from him. I had another baby, my daughter, and she's from somebody totally different.
Okay.
But when I got back with him, he accepted her like she was his, you know. Never treated her bad or anything, you know.
This is unrelated to your kids, but was there ever a point where you felt invincible? Sort of like when you're high, it's like, oh, I'm doing the right thing. I'm living the life that I want.
You don't even think of that. You're so much high that you don't think of consequences at all. You know, you just think you're living it up. You know, you're having a good time. You're not worried about responsibilities. You know, you have none. You have none. All your time is focused on getting that drug, whatever it may be.
That makes sense.
You know.
So when you first left your house, I'd assume in your head, you probably thought, okay, I'm eventually gonna go back to your mom, right? Until the drugs came.
I really only went to go spend the night. She had told me I couldn't. But I snuck out through my window.
Okay.
And I left with the intentions of coming home. I did come home. And she had me put in juvenile hall in a girl's placement.
Because you ran away?
Because I ran away. Even though I came back the next day.
That actually pushed you further away.
Yeah, because when my dad told her to get me out of there or I would end up like my brothers in and out of prison for the rest of my life, she took me out. But me being angry, her being angry, I took off. And I went back to my friends.
What happened to your brother?
My brother?
Yeah.
He's older now.
Okay, no, I mean, what happened? What put him in prison?
Oh, my other brothers? I don't know because...
Was they much older than you?
They were much older than me and I didn't live with them.
Okay.
My mom had me and my 2 sisters and my little brother. My dad had 1 sister and the 2 boys.
Okay.
But I never grew up with them. I didn't meet him until later in life. I think I was around maybe 13.
Okay.
And by that time, one of my brothers was already in prison. I got to meet my brother, Albert. And he was real nice. He would introduce me to people and they would know about me. My sister, Marilyn, when she introduced me to people, everybody would tell her, I didn't know you had a sister. You never talked about her. So there was a big difference.
Why do you think that is?
I think there was a little bit of jealousy because his dad cheated on her mom and had a baby from this lady. You know.
A bit of resentment.
Yeah. Okay. And it kind of got taken out of me.
Okay. Let's move forward to you had your first son.
Yeah.
Then you and your boyfriend broke up.
Yes, right? For a little bit. And then I went back to him.
Okay.
I went back to him after I had my daughter. And my son and my daughter are 3 years, 8 days apart. And I just had
8 days apart?
3 years, 8 days.
It's 3 years, 8 days apart.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were with your daughter's dad for quite a bit of time then?
No, it didn't even last a year.
Okay.
He was very violent to the point that I had to jump out my 2-story window in the zoo complex that's here in Colton, off of Rancho Mill, twice.
Was he a user as well?
He was a user as well.
Okay.
I would buy the crystal with my money and he would hold it from that point on. And I guess he was cutting it without me knowing because he was using more, fixing it more, and he would get real violent and thinking that I was cheating when I didn't go nowhere, to the point that he would get things in his hands to hit me. And being scared, one day I just ran onto my table, jumped onto my couch, and just jumped out a 2-story window. I hit the ground, knocked myself out for a little bit, was able to get up before he got down the stairs and took off running. I climbed a fence and I got stuck with my legs like this, and he runs by me. And I see him run by me. Now I'm terrified because I think he's going to grab my leg. I barely got it over to drop and run into a crowd of people I knew, some older ladies. And I grabbed one of them and I told her, please help me. You know, and we had security guards there at that time.
Okay.
And I told the security guards he wasn't on the lease, that I didn't want him there. And while 2 of the younger boys that I knew, Donna Ray and I think it was, God, I can't remember his other name, the other guy's name. It's been so long. But Donald Ray and another kid put their hands like this, let me sit down because I couldn't move after that. When I stopped, I guess I broke my pelvis without knowing it. Yeah, and I didn't even know I was pregnant.
Okay. So you jumped out the window when you were pregnant at the time. You didn't know that.
But I didn't know I was pregnant.
Wow.
I didn't find out I was pregnant until the second time it happened a week later. It happened again.
And the baby survived.
And she's my daughter, the second born. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's a survivor.
Yeah, they thought I would have to have an emergency C-section, and I didn't. I had her full term normal. You know, she was God's gift to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when your daughter was born,
yeah,
after your daughter was born, you went back to your boyfriend.
I went back to
your ex-boyfriend.
My ex, yeah.
What prompted you to do that? Instead of finding maybe get out of that environment?
I don't know if it was because I seen my mom get hit from her husband. If I thought that was normal. You know, and it didn't help either with my sister was very abusive. If she asked my middle sister to get her a diaper and she didn't do it, she would get beat up. If I did it, I would get beat up because she wasn't asking me to do it. She was asking her to do it.
So there's a lot of DV in your family.
Yeah, yeah. So she was really mean. One time she hit me over the head with, you remember those wooden brushes they had back in the old days? With one of those, and we're living on G Street, and there's a cemetery right there by the Arrowhead Hospital in Colton. And I take off because she's hitting me on the top of my head. So I take off and her boyfriend runs after me. Something tells me, go in the cemetery. As soon as I enter the cemetery, he would not enter. So he was scared. He was scared of whatever, I don't know, ghost, whatever.
That's funny.
You know, but I always liked those kind of movies, so it didn't bother me to go.
Yeah.
And I went and I talked to one of my uncles that's buried and kind of told him what I was going through.
To bury in that cemetery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that help you?
Yeah, it helped me.
Momentarily, at least?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after I cooled down and had my talk with him, I did go back, you know, to the house.
Okay.
Because, you know, to my sister where she was at, her and her boyfriend. I can't remember if that was my mom's apartment or if that was her apartment. You know, the drugs do damage. They do a lot of damage without you realizing. You're slowly killing yourself.
Of course.
Don't let anybody tell you different. I didn't know that.
Was there ever a high point when you were, throughout the years when you were on drugs, like a point where you felt, okay, maybe this is a life I want to live?
At first in the beginning, yeah. But when I started trying to really get clean, and I couldn't, I mean, I've been through 15 different programs, inpatient, at IVRS.
I'm not familiar with that term.
That's Inland Valley Recovery Center here in Upland.
Okay.
It's an inpatient program. I did 75 days there. I've done Cedar House multiple times. I would say at least 4 to 5 times. I've done perinatal in Fontana. I've done perinatal when they moved it to Rialto off of Foothill and Pepper. I've done Inland Valley Recovery Center. It was in D Street at that time. I've done outpatient, inpatient, trying to get the help.
What would you say would be the top 3 reasons why you couldn't get clean even after all those programs?
Not wanting to let people into my life, not wanting to tell people my problems.
You don't do that? I'm sorry to interrupt. You don't do that inside the program while you're trying to get clean?
When I was very quiet in the program, you
Okay.
know, they don't make you share unless you want to. And I have to trust people first in order to share. I had some good counselors that I would trust. The one that was at the perinatal off of Foothill, she was really good. She wasn't an addict. She was only book smart and book knowledge, but her heart was a heart of gold. There was another one there at the Fontana perinatal as well. You know, it depends. Like I could talk to Vera real good, and Lori, who was my counselor there at Cedar House. You know, I got her quite a few times because of going back. One of my counselors, I asked for more time when my son was murdered. I told her it wasn't enough time, that I needed more time. And I was told because I was a higher functioning DBH client that I could not get more time. And then I find out that there's scholarships that they give for people that need more time. But I was already out of the program, back to using again. I knew I wasn't ready to deal with the loss of my son. I just barely started dealing with it when I went to IVRS. All this time, I've just known the pain.
IVRS?
Inland Valley Recovery Center.
Okay, okay.
When I went there, I had a therapist that would come in and talk to me, and she did a graph from the time that I ran away to present age. And it shows that everything that happened to me, that I willingly took part in, because nobody forced me, first of all. My curiosity got the best of me, and it seemed like fun out there. You know, the cruising was going on, all the people gathering in.
Like a big party.
Yeah, like a big party. And you figure this was somebody who never got to go out with her uncles, or I think I may have went to one school dance, and that was only because I was running for Cinco de Mayo Queen. I came in, I believe, 3rd place that day. You know.
How fast things can change, right?
Yeah, yeah. And if I would have never disobeyed my mom, I look back now. If I would have just took no for no, that I couldn't go, maybe my life would have been different. Maybe I wouldn't have lost my kids. And I say maybe only behind the fact you never know what could happen anywhere down the line.
Of course.
You know, you don't know if I don't know if I would have still ended up on this path or not.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, the only one that knows is God. And I say that because, you know, we have free will. Free will to follow or do as we please.
But I'm sure
Yeah.
your life would have been better if you listened.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There's no question about it.
Yeah, no question about it in my mind. Now, back then, no, I thought that I was doing the right thing.
Yeah. In hindsight, picture is clear, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if you want to share this about the passing of your son.
My son, right before he got killed, I was living with my father in his house. I just got out of prison. I hadn't been out of prison that long. I was going to Valley College to become an alcohol and drug counselor. I had just seen my son prior to his birthday. We went out to eat. I got him some clothes, and then I went home. Well, he calls me one day asking for me to ask my father if he can move in there. But I'm very honest. I'll either ask, you want me to tell you the truth or the lie? And my dad said he'd rather hear the truth. And he had asked me, would my son steal from him? I told him, I don't know. I would have to say maybe because he's stolen from me.
Okay. He was a user as well?
Yes.
Okay.
And he didn't tell me he was in any trouble or anything like that. I think that's why he was asking to come and stay. Maybe he knew. Because he had always told me out there, Mom, there's going to be a day that's going to come when I'm going to tell you to leave and you need to leave or we both die. Yeah.
What do you think he meant by that?
I don't know if he's seen something, if God let him know something or what, or if it was just a feeling that he had.
But you didn't pursue that conversation.
No, terrified of death, first of all. You know, I don't do good with death,
Yeah, of course.
you know. And my dad went on that answer that I gave him and didn't let him move in. And I think it was either his birthday was Halloween, and it was, I believe, the 26th of November. It was either the day of Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving that he was found murdered in a house, that they even ran after the person that had permission to be in the house. And there was a girl that I guess he owed money to, but she also owed him money, from what I was told. And the two guys did get arrested. One's out already, and one is serving 27.
They shot him or they
They stabbed him to death and left him.
The reason is because
He
the
owed
money?
the girl money, from what I was told.
That was it.
That was it. When I went to court, both cases were done different because one told on the other one. So the one that got 6 years, he's already out.
They always tell.
Yeah.
They always do.
Yeah. And and he showed no remorse. And he was the one that, he looked familiar. I just couldn't place where I knew him from. When I seen him, and my son's case wasn't even brought, you know how they announce what case it is? And this kid is looking at me and he's telling me that he'll tell and do the right thing. You know, I could read his lips. And I look at my sister-in-law because she's also going to court for her son passing away. Same thing. He got stabbed at the gas station, and the gas station, Valerio, would not even help him, wouldn't even call for an ambulance for him. They just told him to leave
After he was stabbed.
after he was stabbed
So he was stabbed at a gas station.
at a gas station.
He couldn't get help at a gas station.
At a gas station. The person did not want to help him. Yeah, that's pretty sad.
I'm not sure if it's a law
I
that requires for you to help or not.
don't know, to be honest with you. And I worked at a gas station, and I don't know.
I'm sure we can look into that, but it's
Yeah.
it's in the past.
Yeah, it's been since hers happened before 2012. I think like maybe a year prior to that. And then my son's. And what's really a shame is the only reason my son's case got finished before her case was because his Nina called the police station. They thought he was just a bum, just a nobody. And she called and she let him know he was an A student and he was a Marine.
He was a Marine.
He was a
and
Marine
student.
and an A
What?
student.
What made him start using?
I think it was me wanting to be out there with me. And he used to tell me that the hazing that goes on in the military, that they would wake him up, grabbing him by the throat, you know, that his sergeant was really mean to him. You know, I don't want to think that our government would allow that, but from what I hear, they do, you know.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Was he ever deployed?
He was, but he AWOL'd a couple of times, and it was to be with me out there. He did do his time in the military prison. So he did, and he got he says it was other than honorable. So I don't know if there is a such thing as other than honorable or if it's just dishonorable.
Dishonorable.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but he tried to tell me that. You know, yeah.
So you think that you are the reason why he started using?
Yeah, because he wanted to be out there with me. Because
You sure about that? Or?
My sister told him that he was going to be just like me, from what he told me. you know.
It doesn't mean you're the reason why I start using.
Yeah.
I don't think you should blame yourself for that unless you know
I
for
don't
sure.
blame myself for that because it was what he seen when I did have him. I've always sold drugs.
He saw everything.
He saw everything.
And was he on the streets with you? Or something?
Not until he left my sister's house.
How old was he?
He was just out of high school. So about 17, 18.
Slightly older than you were.
Yeah.
And when he passed, how old
He
was
had
he?
just turned 27.
Oh, he was young.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
you
he-
were getting clean at the time when he passed.
No, I was in my addiction again at that time.
That just pushed you.
Oh wait, when he passed?
When he passed, you were trying
Yeah,
to get
I
clean.
was already had 3 years and a little bit over 3.5. I was in Valley College going for my.
You were clean.
I was clean.
Okay. Then when that happened, you just.
Yeah, I felt nobody could understand me in the church because they weren't an addict.
Yeah. And that's the only escape you know.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, nobody knows.
Yeah,
Yeah. Except that you know the drugs, how they would make you feel.
yeah.
You know, to make you feel.
I wouldn't have to feel the pain.
Yeah.
There's many drugs out there.